Welcome to the Certification of Provision of Instructional Materials webinar. Get that up. Okay, so the TEA's executive leadership team has asked us to not allow the use of generative artificial intelligence or AI bots on virtual calls and presentations. We request anyone using such a software to disable it now so we can continue. We will circulate a PDF copy of these slides, and we'll upload them to the webpage. If you have questions during today's webinar, please submit them using the Q&A feature, and you'll see replies in the Q&A window. Okay, starting with a quick round of introductions. My name is Megan Rios. I'm the Director of High Quality Instructional Materials Financial Sustainability. We have Alejandro Perez, who's the EMAT Specialist, and Frank Fuente, who's the Instructional Materials Procurement Specialist. They'll be assisting in answering the Q&A as well. So our agenda for today, we're going to talk through the Certification of Provision of Instructional Materials survey. We'll go through a timeline, next steps, and then hold some time for a Q&A. Okay, getting us started here. The Certification of Provision of Instructional Materials is a required document that indicates the instructional materials the district has adopted or plans to adopt, and confirms that they will cover 100% of the TEAs. It certifies compliance with the Children's Internet Protection. It assists the TEA in the gathering of the below data, including district involvement in managing scope and sequence, publishers and products used as full subject, publishers and products used as supplemental. Grade bands and subject assessed include RLA, English and Spanish, Math, Social Studies, and Science. There's also an optional instructional materials review and approval report usage and assessment platform usage at the end. In accordance with Texas Education Code 31.1011, local educational agencies or LEAs are required to certify annually to the State Board of Education and the Commissioner that students have access to instructional materials covering all Texas essential knowledge and skills for all required subjects except for physical education. Additionally, LEAs are required to certify that they protect against access to obscene or harmful content in compliance with the requirements for certification under the Children's Internet Protection Act, and any other law or regulation that protects students from obscene or harmful content. The process includes the use of two tools. The first on the left is the Certification of Provision of Instructional Materials form. It's a printable, fillable hard copy of this survey to be completed offline and presented to your LEA's Board of Trustees or governing body for ratification and signatures. The final page of that form includes where your governing body or board will sign, and note it's just the final page that will need to be uploaded. On the right, you'll see information regarding the survey. This is a web-based application where LEAs will transfer the information that they gathered on the form. This is also where you'll upload the signature page of the form. Once completed, you'll be able to download a PDF of your submission for your records, and whoever submitted the document will also receive an automatic email confirming submission once submitted. On the form and survey, you'll be asked to share the full subject and supplemental materials. We define full subject materials as instructional materials designed to, if implemented as designed, provide a student with the mastery of the TEAs without need for supplementation. You might refer to these as Tier 1 or core materials. Supplemental materials are designed to assist in the instruction of one or more of the TEAs. They might be referred to as Tier 2 or Tier 3. Overall, if you were the person responsible for this process last year, you'll find that the process this year mirrors the one last year. A few minor changes include the merging of ELAR and SLAR K2 and 3.5. Previously, they were broken out into those two grade bands, but now it's just K5. There's been a modification of the scope and sequence question. We've also expanded the instructional material certification resource list to include products by grade level and subject. We now have a standalone certification of provision of instructional materials webpage, which will hopefully make it a little easier to navigate the process. And lastly, once your survey has been reviewed and approved, you'll receive notice from our team that access to funds and EMAT have been restored. We have some additional supports available, including the resource list I shared earlier, which houses the list of products you'll see on the Qualtrics survey to help you align the information you include in your form with the Qualtrics survey information. Additionally, if you'd like a copy of last year's submission, you may request one by submitting a help desk ticket. Okay, so here's the sequence of steps that you might go through. So 1, you'll download or print the fillable form and fill it out. This step might include gathering information from campuses across your district or working with various district leaders to confirm the materials used. You'll obtain a local board certification by presenting this to your board or governing body and getting it ratified in an open public board meeting. A quick note here that for many boards, the process to get on their agenda might take a few weeks. So if you know you want to get this done in April or May board meeting, you might want to go ahead and get on that meeting agenda now. You'll then gather the signatures from the board president or secretary. You'll take the information gathered in the form and transfer it to the Qualtrics survey. This is where you'll upload the final page of the form. You do not need to upload the entire form, just that final signature page. EMAT will reopen May 15th, so we suggest submitting your survey in early May so that you're ready to hit the ground running with orders in EMAT when it reopens. After May 15th, it's roughly a 5-day business turnaround for our team to review and update EMAT. On this slide is the timeline for this process and some other relevant EMAT dates. In late February, to the administrator was announced with information regarding the certification of provision of instructional materials. This is also when we released the form. We're now in March, where we have the webinars, office hours, and the Qualtrics survey will be released soon. You'll be able to find that survey on the Certification of Instructional Materials webpage in the coming days. EMAT will close March 28th through May 15th, but a note that Bluebonnet Learning will be available for requisition through April 17th. This is an extension from our usual timeline. A quick side note, we have been asked if LEAs must submit their survey before they can open Bluebonnet Learning requisitions. From now until April 17th, the answer is no. You'll submit your orders and then input the product in your survey. However, after EMAT reopens, you must have that survey completed and reviewed before you get access to any of the instructional materials funds. Other looming deadlines include August 31st, which is the final day to submit requisitions for the state-developed OER entitlement. A reminder there that out of the 3 sources of funds in EMAT now, that is the only one that does not roll over, hence the deadline. If what I just shared is new information, please watch the instructional materials funding webinar, which will drop the link for there here in a bit. Lastly, the 26-27 biennium will begin September 1st, which is when the IMTA becomes available and when the school year 2025-26 entitlements become available. Some additional information. A quick plug that accessible formats of state adopted or SBOE approved instructional materials are provided to eligible students at no cost to the LEA. That includes large print, Braille, or audio. Please note the time frame for ordering AIM. Braille should be ordered by May or early June, large print and audio by mid-July. If you have a student who needs Braille, please place that order as soon as possible. Those products take a long time to produce and we don't want to experience any delays. I want to talk about the timeline expectations for reviewing disbursements and requisitions. We have a mighty team of 4 humans that manually review every single disbursement and requisition to ensure that these funds are being used appropriately. I think in 24-25 we reviewed roughly 2,500 requisitions and 45,000 disbursements. We review requests in the order that they're submitted. Requisitions can take up to 5 business days if they're submitted correctly. They'll take longer if we have to reach out to ask that they be updated with the correct information. Disbursements can take up to 20 business days, again, if they're submitted correctly. If they're submitted incorrectly, we'll reach out to get that information updated. We have an updated EMAT overview and training webpage. Please take a minute to review that page before you submit a disbursement or requisition so that you can submit it correctly the first time. Some closing and next steps. Here are the registration links for the optional office hours. The first one will be March 31st at 11 a.m. Excuse me. The second will be April 3rd at 11 a.m. and you can register via those links there. You can also already find those links on the webpage for the certification of provision of instructional materials. Alternatively, you can submit a help desk ticket. Next steps. So you will gather information so that you complete the certification form, register and prepare your questions for office hours, obtain local board approval, and complete the certification survey with your attached approved and signed form. Excuse me. TEA recommends that LEAs complete these steps by May 1st so that you can be prepared to reaccess your instruction materials funding and EMAT when it reopens on May 15th. We have an exit ticket that we would love if you would mind filling out and providing us some feedback. And I'm going to take a quick look at Q&As while I show that. 1 second. So yes, the recording of this webinar as well as the slides will be on that webpage. And yes, you can submit the Bluebonnet Learning orders from now until April 17th. But when EMAT reopens on May 15th, that the certification of provision of instructional materials needs to be submitted, reviewed, and approved before you can access funding and place additional orders. The Qualtrics survey will be accessible on the webpage by the end of this week. Can I open a little bit? If there are questions here that we aren't able to access or to answer today, we'll provide an update for those. You can submit your survey as soon as you'd like, assuming that you've followed all of the steps needed, and that survey should be, live before the end of this week and on that webpage. But even if you submit it, Friday first thing, EMAT's going to close Friday, March 28th, and then reopen May 15th. And yes, Bluebonnet is available until April 17th for requisition, but then it'll be closed from April 18th through May 15th. Okay, thank you so much for your time today. We'll follow up with the questions we weren't able to answer during this webinar, and we'll post them on the Certification of Instructional Materials webpage. Thank you all so much.